Welcome to our podcast, Parenting by the Pint. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, Minivan Mafia. Lauren and I are longtime friends from Chicagoland that love getting together to chat about life, kids, family, and beer.
Each week, we'll feature a brewery and sample at least 2 of their beers.
We'll also discuss a variety of topics ranging from parenting, pop culture, travel, marriage, and just about anything else that comes to mind.
Welcome back, everybody. How you doing today, Kara?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. All right. Well, so much has happened in the last few months. We are going to drink a couple of beers from Northwoods Brewing Company tonight, which is in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Have we been to New Hampshire yet?
I don't think we've been to New Hampshire, but my husband brought this back for me from New Hampshire.
Well, that's very kind
which is
of
one
him.
of the summer things that occurred.
So that's going to tie right into our
It is.
summer recap topic.
I'm going to open up this Trapper's Pack NEIPA that we're going to start with.
An NEIPA.
I do like it.
A Lauren and
Smells
Kara
like
classic.
An NEIPA to me. Yeah, can't go wrong with this. My husband, I think he bought me a handful, but he does recognize some of the beers that I enjoy, even though he does not.
Sure.
So, which
That's
I appreciate.
respectful. That's very nice. Yes, I appreciate that too. I think
purposely
that's good.
stopped for me and put what he could in the motorcycle, because he was in the motorcycle at the time.
Man, that is pretty
think.
cool of him then.
Yes. So it was a bike trip, but yeah. So he said it sounds beautiful out there. So if I ever get up to the Northeast, I will add this to my list.
Well, that is an area that I have been like passively looking at. Not actively, because if I was actively looking, I would have an extreme amount of information to share with you right now.
Agreed.
But I don't.
Okay. Passive.
But I did present to my husband the idea of going somewhere in the Northeast, because it is an area that neither one of us has really visited, even growing up or as adults. And so might be cool. They got some very unique national parks out there.
There's a lot of cool stuff out there. It's on our list for sure. My kids are, they've already started looking into which states they want to do for next year.
Nice.
So we've hit, I think, 15 states so
Wow.
far.
That's really good.
Right? So, so we're continuing that trend to pick new states every year.
I love that. That's brilliant. I love that. My son for Christmas got one of those scratch-off state maps. And I have been actually kind of on a quest for the perfect frame for it, so that he could still scratch things off, but it's kind of on a frame.
Yes.
And what I've discovered is it's a weird size.
Oh.
So I either need to mount it to something and then put it in a frame, or I need to just stick it to the wall like a poster.
Have you looked at mine when you walk in?
Yes.
So the top and the bottom are just magnetic.
Yes.
And so it doesn't matter how tall it is.
Yes, I've
seen that. So if you can measure just the top and bottom and hang it.
You'll have to send me where you got yours in particular, because I've found a couple and I just wasn't like super thrilled with the ones I found.
And
so
it's super easy, and we like it.
That was something I thought of, because it would keep it flatter.
Yes.
Than
that's the thing.
just being kind of on the wall.
It keeps it, because it was rolled up when it got mailed
Same,
to us.
yeah.
So we had to kind of flatten out, but the magnetic, it's pretty strong that it holds it flat.
And it flattens it out along the edge, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of as well. So.
But so we're trying different states. So the twins have been researching. They got some big Post-it notes, and they wrote states on them, and then they were Googling highlights
I love that.
of places that they want to check out in the different states. My daughter picked Virginia as one for some reason. And I was like,
I don't know that I've ever been to
right.
Virginia.
I've never been to Virginia. So I was like, well, that's new for me.
I mean, unless you say, do people kind of think DC is in Virginia?
I wouldn't count that though. I feel like you can't.
Right?
So yeah. So we'll see. But definitely up in the northeast areas.
Yeah, I think that's
and you
sort
can
of
hit
where
like
my eye.
6 states in one trip because
exactly.
they're like tiny.
And
so.
as we are about to demonstrate, there's some beer out there that might be worth drinking.
I looked at the list of like top 20 scenic breweries in the U.S. and like half of them are in like Vermont,
In the
New
Northeast.
Hampshire.
That's cool.
So
that's really cool.
If you think about it. All right, we're gonna drink this now.
Trapper's Pack.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read the back of this. Trappers packs have been around for centuries. Generations of outdoors people have made use of these carefully crafted packs, the result of 17th century French explorers and American Indian cultures blending. Like an NEIPA, a trapper's pack is a classic staple in the North.
I have no idea what that is. I mean, aside from the description.
The picture. There's a picture.
Yes.
A pack of stuff. So Northwoods Brewing is obviously in New Hampshire, and it's actually in Northwood, New Hampshire. It's right next to a lake, I believe.
Okay.
And essentially they built their business around nature and tranquility. Their logo, which I don't know if it's on here, is actually a fishing fly for fly fishing.
Okay.
And it actually incorporates barley and hops in the design.
Oh.
So it was designed by the owner's son, who's got an artistic background. Northwoods Brewing is owned by a husband and wife. And they actually had bought the restaurant that's right next door.
Okay.
Back in like 2000. So this restaurant called Johnson Seafood and Steak has been open since the 40s.
Okay.
And the family, the husband bought that, and then eventually was like wanted to expand. So they had 40 plus acres of land that they purchased next to this restaurant.
Okay.
And they built Northwoods Brewing and kind of made it woodsy and rustic to fit in with, they didn't want it to be an eyesore just there. So they opened in November of 2018. They made it through COVID because people didn't stop drinking, he said, during COVID.
Sure. No, I can attest to that.
Which is accurate. They don't do just beer, so they do make lots of different beers, but they also have a very popular bake shop at the Northwoods Brewing when you walk in.
Okay.
And they have everything from sticky buns and cinnamon rolls and scones, but they're really known for their giant crullers. Which from all reviews sound like they're amazing and have all different toppings on them as well.
Wow.
And are paired perfectly with a coffee porter.
Oh, that does sound really good.
So if we ever make it up there, and they also have a dining room that has other foods as well, but they also make homemade pizzas.
Nice.
So pizza, beer, donut, beer. I mean, really, it all goes together.
That sounds really breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
right?
people.
And they have all kinds of pizzas, anywhere from regular, like pepperoni, mushroom, blah, 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 to weird ones, like loaded baked potato pizza.
I will hit on this topic on my vacation recap. I will talk about, remind me to bring up the pizza from Iceland.
Fantastic. So all kinds of different foods and things. So you can get beer, you can get donuts, you can get beer, you can get pizza, you can get beer, and then you can go next door and get a steak. You're like set all right there.
That does sound really good though. Yeah.
Right? So their goal eventually with all of the farmland that is on is to actually have plans to grow barley and wheat and hops and berry bushes and fruit trees and eventually produce a fully estate-grown beer of everything coming from there. They're not there yet, but that is the ultimate goal, is to be able to do that. Which, I thought that was really cool. So, so anyway, so that's a little bit about the Northwoods Brewing Company.
Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. I will be honest, I probably would have never even heard of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either. They don't really distribute. My husband literally was on a motorcycle trip, and when he's on the motorcycle, he goes to the most scenic places that, you know, they can. And there was a rally in New Hampshire, and so they were up there and they did the, you know, back roads tour. Nice. And he found a brewery that was on one of those back roads and was like, I'm going to stop and pick up some beer. And I was like, well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Really awesome of him. Thank you, Brandon. I hope he had a cruller. Do you know?
That I don't know, actually. I'm going to have to ask him.
Yeah, I would love to know
That's
if he
more
got
of a my
pastry.
thing. I would love the pastry.
Yeah.
I would definitely sit out there, enjoy the scenery, have a coffee porter, even if it's in the morning, it's okay.
Oh, it's
and a
coffee,
cruller,
my dear.
that sounds fantastic. And if it's vacation, you really need no excuse.
Yeah. So. That reminds me of something else I'm going to say about my vacation. You've just pointed out that vacation rules are different than everyday rules.
Oh, vacation rules are definitely different than everything else rules. So yeah, if we ever make it up there, I'm definitely going to check it out. But I'm going to enjoy the Sunny IPA for now.
Yeah, very good.
We're going to recap our summer
vacations.
Yeah.
Summer
I'm just going to go with summer. There's all kinds of summer things.
Yes.
Good, bad, and otherwise, I'm going to touch on some things.
Oh, yeah.
But you can go
I
ahead
got
and
a little bit of all that. I will start, although I'm going to talk about my big trip probably at the start. I will say that before we went, my son celebrated his 12th birthday, and we were pretty low-key about it because it was right before we were going on vacation. So we didn't do a big birthday gathering for him. We talked briefly about doing something when we returned, but just doing kind of like a one-on-one, you know, one friend
small one,
go to the escape room, or one friend go to a baseball game or something like that. And, you know, I love my son, but he just never committed to anything.
Well, that's his call.
I think he was pretty satisfied with the vacation as being kind of his birthday celebration, which is cool. So we, as I have said, I'm sure on here, at least once or twice, we did a big Europe trip where we flew from Chicago through Reykjavik, Iceland, and then made some stops in Italy and some stops in Greece. And what I'll say about Iceland is that we went to a pizza place while we were there just for fun. And they had pizza that had a variety of seafood on it, some of which were things that I had never heard of. They have a sort of, I think it's somewhere between like a prawn and a lobster. It's called langoustine, I think. And it's like and that, I think they had I
feel like I've heard of it before.
It's very popular in Iceland. And then they also had pizza that had fries on it and béarnaise sauce.
Ooh, well, I love some
which was kind of, you know, my son got a pepperoni, which was very good. It was very good. We all actually really enjoyed our meals, and everybody got kind of like for the most part, very American food. My son got pepperoni pizza. My other kid got chicken nuggets.
Of course, yeah.
I got steak. And the only steak I ate on the trip, actually. And my husband got this, like, cod he got an Icelandic meal.
So
like a cod and, like, kind of a red sauce. It was actually very good. I tasted it. It had a little bit of too many things in it for me.
Yes. You don't like a ton of flavors mixed together.
Yeah, there were definitely some vegetables in there, and I'm not a huge, like, mixture of foods person. Even if I like a particular vegetable, I don't want it, like, cooked with a bunch of other things.
I don't like to waste my vacation meals on vegetables.
Yeah, I don't eat a lot of vegetables. There's not a lot of vegetables for me to describe on this trip. That may have been the last time I had a vegetable on vacation, unless you count red sauce in Italy.
Which I think doesn't.
Which
really.
is whatever. Depends on your perspective.
Yeah,
if we're making an argument for eating healthy, then yeah, I ate crazy healthy because I had red sauce like every day. But if you're talking about whatever. Anyway.
Norway lobster is the like generic term for langoustines, but they are a lobster family.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
When we were originally planning our day in Iceland, there were some conversations about driving around the island quite a bit.
Yes.
And there was a place we were going to stop that kind of specialized in that particular dish. It didn't play out that way. We ended up renting a car and kind of just driving around within about an hour of where we were staying, which really was honestly was great.
Yeah.
Iceland is a very interesting, incredibly unique country. We went to a geothermal field, which is unlike pretty much anything that you see
things
here.
You can't, yeah. Well, that's what I like to do on vacations is things that I can't just drive around our, general vicinity here.
Yeah. What I found very interesting is that where we were at least, and I don't know if this is necessarily true across the whole country, there were no trees.
Really?
We were not far from a volcano, and there are many volcanoes in Iceland, and volcanic activity has carved out a lot of that country into a very strange landscape, to be honest. We went to the coast, and we saw a lava pool, something that had been carved out by lava and then hit the ocean and obviously ended its reign of terror.
That's where it died,
But there were huge waves, and it was June, but we were like freezing, but only because we weren't prepared.
No.
If I had brought a jacket, I would have been fine.
Fair enough.
My long sleeve shirt that I brought wasn't
sufficient.
doing it. Being that we spent the rest of the trip in 80+ degree weather, we thought, what do you need a jacket for?
Fair. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Be prepared. That's the key.
So Iceland was great. We moved on to Italy. We went to Rome and Florence and Bologna, and I'll kind of touch on each of them a little. We stayed in an Airbnb in Rome that had way too many stairs. It was like 5 stories up, and it was one of those circular stairways.
Oh, jeez.
After walking 18,000 steps,
all day,
having to walk up those stairs, I felt something. I felt a pain that I do not ever want to relive. Like, just exhaustion and sore.
Yeah.
And I had really good walking shoes. I will say
it doesn't matter after all that, though.
I could spend an entire episode listing some of the things I brought on the trip that I benefited from and things I didn't really need. But, man, my feet did not like those stairs.
Oh, I can imagine.
I will say I felt very safe. I don't think anyone could have ever
Nobody's
come up there and broken in.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
I don't know how you would get up there and still have the energy to break the door down. Because I didn't. We had a little bit of rain in Rome, but we did see all the highlights. We went to the Colosseum. We saw the Sistine Chapel. We did all that stuff. The kids loved it.
Awesome.
More than I even expected.
Oh, that's good.
Which was great. And here's me encouraging people to take their kids on elaborate vacations. Because honestly, you'd be surprised. And I know you wouldn't, because you take your kids on any trip that you feel the desire to go on. And I just thought it went wonderfully.
Awesome. Good.
Florence was great. Florence is the city of art, and my kids weren't huge into that. We had some mistakes were made. We went to the Uffizi Gallery, which is one of the greatest Renaissance art galleries in the world. Not for children.
That's
kids.
Fair. Yeah. There's definitely, I feel like traveling with children, sometimes you need to temper your expectations for some of the things that you enjoy, and not just you, but the adults are like, oh, I would love this, and then you're like, oh, my kids are literally going to run through this gallery and be like, what's next?
Yeah, we lasted about an hour, and my youngest was sort of like, are we done here?
Yeah.
And we were not even halfway.
Ooh, yeah.
And that was at a pace that was, it was a child's pace.
Right.
So it is easily a place you could spend several hours.
I think me and my husband spent when we were in Florence, many moons ago.
Yeah.
We spent quite a while there.
I made everyone stay long enough for me to find a Leonardo da Vinci painting that I very much wanted to see. And when I did finally get to it, I admitted that I could have stood and looked at it for 5 hours. It was so impressive and so good and so interesting and so much detail, and those are the type of
paintings that you look at, and the next time you look at it, you see something different.
Exactly.
And that's why it's always, if you enjoy art, that's what's fascinating about doing that. But if you don't particularly enjoy art, or you're a kid and look at it and you're like, then not nearly as exciting.
Yes,
So
yes.
I get it. Yeah.
But we had a good time. We had steak Florentine in
of
Florence,
course,
which
of
is
course.
kind of a requirement,
you
I
have
think.
to do, yeah.
Very rare steak, which I was the only one who really loved, although my kids did eat some.
Okay.
The rest of the meal was very good. We had this boar bolognese, which I also thought was kind of a diamond in the rough. I did not see that coming. I didn't think it was going to be that good. I'm not a big bolognese fan, and this was just it was like shredded rather than ground.
Oh, interesting.
Very good. It was really good.
Okay.
I would definitely recommend that restaurant. Bologna was really just a lesson in what not to do in Italy, which I'm sad to say because Bologna was great, and I had a very nice time. We stayed in an agriturismo, which is kind of what I describe as a farm resort.
Yeah.
So you are staying on a farm. They are all on farmland. But it's meant for people to stay there. Sometimes they have activities. There are more luxurious ones that have cooking classes and private chefs and all these, and tours of the countryside and horseback riding and tennis courts and blah, blah, blah. Everything you could possibly imagine, almost like just an all-inclusive type resort. We stayed in one about 45 minutes from Bologna. It was too far from the city.
Okay.
And I only think that because it was a little bit remote, and that meant once we got back to where we were staying, we were pretty much locked
Just
there.
yeah.
We did travel the days that we were there. We rented a car, which was another mistake. If I was locked into staying in that place, I would be glad to have a car.
Sure.
But I could have eliminated both of those things and still enjoyed my time in the Bologna area, maybe even enjoyed it more. I really, really liked the agriturismo. It was only $120 a night, and we had a house
Totally
to
worth
ourselves
that, then. Yeah.
and a fully stocked kitchen.
Oh, wow.
We had breakfast and lunch
Oh, wow.
in our
That's
room,
nice.
our house. So I cannot honestly complain about the place that we stayed. It was just too far away.
Sure.
And that's not their fault.
Nope, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't like renting a car. We had a lot of stress on the highway. We ran through some tolls. Italy does that toll system where you take a ticket.
Yep.
And then when you get off, you
have
punch
to
your
pay.
ticket.
Yep.
And that didn't go real well for us because the exit we got on didn't have a ticket thing.
Oh,
so we didn't get a ticket. So then when we got off, we
You
went
didn't have
through
a ticket to give.
the gate that there was supposed to be a person, but there
Yeah.
wasn't a person. So it was just a little box with a button, and you hit the button, and then some voice comes out. Except that voice speaks Italian. And I was just like, do you speak English? And this was also coincidentally at a time where I had lost my voice because I had gotten sick on vacation. And so I wasn't really talking very well in any language, including my own.
Yes.
And that was very stressful.
I can imagine.
The maximum amount of toll you can be charged is 68 euros, which is like
Ooh.
$80.
That's a lot for toll.
$80 to drive on the highway for 45 minutes is not a pill I was prepared to swallow.
That's fair.
So that was kind of rough. I didn't love that.
Yeah.
We did go to a cheese factory, which was really cool, which is where they make Parmesan Reggiano. They call it the cheese factory. I didn't call it that. We call it a dairy over here. It's kind of the same as a dairy, sort of. I think the reason why they call it a cheese factory is because they're only making one thing.
Yeah.
They only make Parmesan Reggiano.
Yeah.
They
a
don't
dairy
make
is a variety of
they don't
things
make
that come from
cheese and butter and milk and buttermilk and a variety of things. They're only making Parmesan Reggiano. It's very, very, they're very particular about it in Italy. So, yeah. The last thing I will say is that we went to Naxos, Greece, which is an island off of in the Aegean, and it was awesome. And my kids only ever want to go there on vacation from now on. Anytime I bring up let's go somewhere on vacation, let's start talking about a next vacation. My youngest will literally always and only propose Naxos. He started talking about how we're going to move there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Good to know.
He told, I'm not going to be specific, but he told an adult in his life that he would no longer be seeing her because he would be moving to Naxos soon. that I was
Okay.
looking at real estate and that we were going to move.
Okay.
That's he's not totally wrong. I may have perused the real estate,
I'm not shocked by this, but it does not mean that you're moving.
but I
now.
cannot move
Yeah.
there. We even came up with like a business plan. He's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
But
you can have your cat cafe in Naxos.
Oh, now you've uncovered my business plan. That is exactly what we agreed we would do, is that we would actually have a cat sanctuary.
That sound.
There
I
are
could
many,
totally see that.
There's a gajillion cats
Yep.
on this island. We could have a bed and breakfast
Oh.
that's also a cat sanctuary.
Okay.
So yes, my son did come up with a source of income.
Yeah.
So that we could stay on the island forever.
Okay.
I don't know what their citizenry requirements are.
No idea.
And any of that. I can't imagine that you just move and buy a place and start a business.
I doubt
assume
it's that easy, but
I assume there's a little bit more to it than that.
I would imagine.
So I have to. I guess I gotta look into that a bit more. Maybe
You know,
it's a retirement
yeah,
plan.
I was gonna say maybe retirement sounds like that is a possibility, but not right now. Yeah.
The island was awesome. The beach was amazing. The water was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really great. We drove there too. I would also not recommend that.
Okay.
The winding mountainous roads, even on a tiny
Oh,
island, were
yeah.
so scary. I had to ride in the back seat and put my head down because I was like, well, if I'm going to plummet to my death, I just don't want to know it's about to
I
happen.
don't want to see it. Okay.
It was very scary, and I feel bad because I think I made my husband anxious,
Oh.
but that's why I moved to the back
Right,
seat.
that's
I
why
put
you
my
were away.
12-year-old up front. It was brutal.
It worked better that way. It was better for everyone this way.
Yeah. So other than renting cars, the only downsides we really had, as I already mentioned, I did spend a little time sick on vacation.
Yeah.
I had like one day where I didn't feel well.
Okay.
And then I got the cough. You know, the after cold cough that you
Yes.
get. And then I had to go to the pharmacy and get some weird Italian cough medicine.
But I've heard from multiple people that have traveled to Europe recently that their medicine is far more
It's far-
effective
yes. Let me just
than
tell
ours
you,
is. I just throwing that out there.
I went to 3 pharmacies on this trip
Okay.
for 3 different ailments, and I will tell you about all 3, and then we can close the Europe trip
Okay. Sounds
conversation. The first time I went, my son had gotten some mosquito bites, and they were really getting to him, and he reacts badly to mosquito bites. They swell up a little bit more than average.
Okay.
Not too bad, but he gets really good sized
Yeah, and
lumps.
that's annoying anyways.
And they're painful and
Yeah,
they hurt,
I
and
totally
they
get
itch.
that.
And
Yeah.
so he was like, I can't take it anymore. We were going into Bologna. This was when we were staying at the Agriturismo.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had eaten dinner out one night and we were outside. We ate a lot of meals outside, which is a Kara no.
Yeah, but when you're
you have
there,
to do that in Italy. It's
yeah,
required.
you have no choice.
We ate
So.
indoors once in Italy, and to be honest with you, I was sweating the entire meal because they didn't have air conditioning.
Right. Every time when we ate there, pretty much everything was either outdoors or literally like the wall was open. Like,
Exactly.
so it was
or you're just sitting in
practically
the
outdoors.
windows, which
Exactly.
are open.
Yes.
Yeah, so the
But
first time
the bugs
we went
have no barriers
and
there.
Got, I went to the pharmacy in Bologna. I was very worried they weren't going to understand me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn how to say mosquito bites in Italian. I did know the word for mosquito from before because I had been to Italy before and needed bug spray.
Similar
So that had happened before. The pharmacists in Italy, and I believe this is true for most of Europe, are almost doctors, really, when it comes to being able to distribute medication. She gave us a steroid cream.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I still have it.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We saved that. That's squirreled away.
Yes, I would.
You
I
don't
would do the
just
same.
get a steroid cream.
No, and you don't just let go of it.
No,
Like,
oh heavens,
you keep
no.
that
I
in
put
case.
the thinnest layer of that stuff on my son's mosquito bites. I was like, Mommy needs to hold on to this.
Just in case. You never know.
So then our next visit to the pharmacy was me with my cough. And the pharmacist at that time said to me, I'm going to give you a medicine. It's one of those like Alka-Seltzer type things where you drop it into water and it
liquid, yeah.
fizzes.
Yep.
And it was like a lemon. And he was like, I'm going to give you this medicine. And he said, the thing is, I can't just give you a medicine that's going to make you stop coughing. And I'm
Sure.
like, okay, I guess.
All right.
I get it.
You're
and he
the
goes,
pharmacist.
you need to get the cough out. That's what he said to me. You need to get the cough out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a medicine that's going to make you cough during the day and not cough at night.
It's like magic.
Yeah. It worked. Took a couple of days to like really get over it.
Yeah.
But each day was better.
Yeah.
I definitely had some major coughing episodes during the day, though.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem with the cough is you can't sleep because you're doing
Exactly.
it at night.
Well, and that's what I said to him.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to be able to sleep. I'm on vacation. I have to sleep. Like, you got to help me out. I'm keeping my husband up.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
coughing all night.
We're all miserable because of me.
I can't.
So.
What am I supposed to go sit outside?
Yeah.
At like 3 a.m?
No. Yeah.
Like, come
wake
on,
up everyone in the
so
neighbors.
That was very effective. I did take a picture of it, but I did finish it because he was very insistent that I finish the entire
the whole
box of medicine, which is, I get that, which is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
My last pharmacy visit is something I would almost rather not share.
That's fair. I understand.
But I will.
Okay.
I will because I actually learned a lot from the experience. We discovered head lice on our children on vacation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say when we discovered it or where we were, but I will say that we went to a pharmacy and I got head lice gel, and that I have never seen a product work so effectively and quickly and efficiently and take away all of my worries in mere moments. This stuff went onto my kids' heads for 1 hour. And when that hour was through and we rinsed it off, it was gone.
They were jumping to their death.
I saw them plummet off of my son's head. I saw little lice just fall onto his shoulder, dead. When I rinsed his hair, you saw them go down the drain. Dead.
Most effective thing
I've
ever.
never seen any. I made a note.
Yes.
You can buy the product on Amazon.
Fantastic.
I've never seen anything like it for something that could have been potentially ruined the rest of our trip, and I felt like it was going to. Whew.
Yeah.
Man, we came out of that one.
Right? Yeah.
Very fortunate.
Yeah. But you're not the only one that I've heard, like, those type of things, like the effectiveness and the efficiency
of the medication
outside of the United States is vastly different.
It's unbelievable. And I don't want to point fingers, but I will say that there's a lot of regulation in the United States, and that I think that there are times where maybe we're slowed down a bit as a result.
Yeah, or there's a variety of reasons, but it's promising that there are other options out there that are very quickly to work. So
yes, I just monopolized a great deal of our time, but please, I hope I didn't drown on for too long, but please tell me something of a highlight from yours.
Yeah, I mean, we actually didn't get on a plane this summer at all. The last time we were on a plane was for spring break to Arizona, so that was mid-school still. Right. So since we were done with school, or ish, May, our kids get out really early.
I know.
We have since traveled somewhere between 4,200 and 4,500 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, I added it all up, all the places we've been since then.
Crazy.
We've been to 6 states plus the state we live in, so 6 plus Illinois, so 6 other states, and, over 4,000 miles of road tripping over the last few months, all over.
Pretty awesome.
So it's a lot. Yeah. When I look back, I was like,
what's the highlight? I know you did some travel for lacrosse, so I know part of that was maybe
so we went to 2 tournaments that my son played in, my youngest son played in. One was to Michigan, one was to Indiana.
Okay.
We made the Indiana one. We had already planned on doing in Indianapolis and a beach trip, so we just kind of added the lacrosse on. So that wasn't really additional, but that was fun. We went back to Indianapolis, which we've been to before. We always visit my husband's uncle in Indiana Beach and do that stuff. That's kind of an every summer type thing. But then
Okay.
we did Michigan for another tournament, which was when I got rear-ended and lost my car for 6 weeks.
It's back now, though, right?
Yay, it's
I
back.
saw it in your driveway.
Yes.
I was very comforted by that because we have a little journey of our own coming up, and I was a
Yes.
little worried
Yeah.
about the timeline on the.
No,
on
I
the
have my
minivan.
car back.
Yeah,
My
I
big
was
car with lots of
afraid.
room.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
afraid to ask you.
Yes.
I was like, oh no,
it has
I hope that-
returned. We are still fighting the insurance company to reimburse us for things, but
Ugh.
that's a
Oh,
whole
my
nother topic. But so the Michigan trip was when we lost my car, sadly, and had a minivan. So actually, most of these 4,000 miles weren't even on my car.
That's so awesome. That's even better, honestly.
That travel was on the rental car, which is fine, frankly.
Yeah.
It made a weird noise when the air conditioning was running, and I thought one of the times I was gonna turn the car off, it was just gonna explode because it was like a knocking noise. Yeah, but again, it's not mine, so
What was it? What minivan? What was the?
a Pacifica Chrysler.
Oh.
I would never buy that car. I've driven them every time that. So every rental car company, if you rent a minivan, it's a Pacifica.
Well, when we went to the Napa trip, there was a small line of minivans, and we hopped into the Pacifica, and I had a little twinge about it because, and there may have been another option there. I don't recall, but
There aren't many. Usually they're Chryslers. Like that's for some reason what's
they
the
probably
minivan
have a
companies?
deal
Yeah, who
for
knows?
buying them. But
I don't enjoy
But I had
them.
a little twinge because my brother had some bad luck. He has a Pacifica.
Okay. Yeah.
Although he insists that everything is fine now, and it has been
Sure.
quite a while.
Okay.
I respect that, and I'm and it was all covered by warranty and
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
so I get it.
Yeah.
I just it still happened though, you know.
They're
So
not
like
my favorite car. They're even not even my favorite minivan, and I don't even like minivans, but they're still not my favorite.
Fair.
But I put 4,000 miles on a rental car this summer that wasn't mine, so
That's pretty
whatever.
awesome.
So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that's pretty
But
great.
and then we did Kentucky. We did Mammoth Cave, which was new to us.
Oh, okay, cool.
We did a cave tour. We fed some kangaroos.
How do you feel about caves?
Short cave tours are good for my family. I don't think my kids would do well with a long cave tour. This one was only probably about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Unfortunately, usually they have a lot of stairs.
Yeah.
So, and this one had an underground lake and it was a bit damp. So the stairs were wet and made me a bit nervous with the children. Everything was fine.
Sure.
They enjoyed it. It was cool. Even my oldest was fine.
Okay.
We all managed okay. I think cave tours are cool.
Okay.
But I don't think, not my kids like, again, they like the short ones. They don't like the long ones.
That was fine for them.
Yes.
In that particular instance.
Yes, we've done other cave tours with them. One of them, they turned off all the lights to see how pitch black it got, and my daughter nearly had a heart attack.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I might have a heart attack if they do that.
It was very dark.
We went on a hike on the island when we were in
yeah.
Greece. That was supposed to lead us to Zeus's cave.
Oh, yeah.
And Zeus's cave is where Zeus found his lightning bolts. That's the mythology. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So you go to this place and you start walking, and you're walking kind of along the edge of like this. I won't say edge of a cliff, but like kind of a mountainous walkway.
Yeah.
And you're kind of already pretty high up when you start because we drove up a scary
Up the mountain.
to
Yeah.
get there and parked on the side of a road without a barrier. I have
Very
nightmares
dangerous
about it. I have
excursion that
it was
you went
not my
on.
favorite. It was not my favorite. And we start walking along this path, which also did not have a barrier, with my children. One of which we discovered after the trip was having a mild medical issue.
Right.
That made this much more dangerous. Because he would have moments where he would kind of like lose a little bit of what was happening.
Yeah.
And
And it was scary to begin with.
it was scary to begin with.
Let
and
alone,
and I
yeah.
will say that was actually a blessing in disguise because going on the trip kind of pointed out that something was going on with my son, and we were able to take care of it right away when we got back.
Which is good.
So
But
all is right with the world.
still scary
no
at
worries.
the time.
But we were having a bit of an issue on the trip, and it was a little scary. And this part of the trip, when I spoke to the doctor when we returned, he was like, yeah, just don't do any like unrestrained heights. Maybe ease off on the swimming until we kind of get things, we're sure that we've fixed everything. And I was like, but starting today, right? Because just a few days ago, I had my son walking up the side of a mountain without any way of keeping him from falling off.
Yeah.
I was walking on the path, and I literally said, how long do you think it would take a helicopter to airlift me to the hospital? And
oh my gosh.
Is there a hospital on this island?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know. Don't
Okay.
know.
All right. Well, you're safe now. So
Yeah.
we got that.
I did not like not knowing the answers to those questions. I usually do look and see where the hospital is.
That's
when
fair. I
go
usually know
somewhere.
where something close by is. But
Yeah. So not my favorite. We never made it to Zeus's
to the cave.
because at one point the path was very unclear, by the
Yeah.
way. But at one point we got to a boulder with an arrow drawn on it. Up. And my husband is like, I think we have to climb up this rock face to keep going. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I think it's time for my half liter of wine.
yeah, we're done
And I
now.
can't have that while I'm here, so we have to go.
That sounds more reasonable.
We're not doing that. I was like, good game, everybody.
Yeah, good-
you guys tried.
Good try. Thanks.
We totally
Go
tried.
team.
I watched so many people walk up to that rock and see that arrow and turn around and walk back in the time that we were walking toward the rock and away from the rock. And I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, their signage is poor, but
Yeah, we did not even know we were going the right way until we got to that arrow. And that was like 40 minutes in. 40 minutes of walking along this cliff.
I'm out on that. Yeah. No, we've done some short hikes, and again, the cool thing about the cave, one of the cave tours we went to, is you go in on one side and then you go through the cave and you go out to the other side.
Okay, sure.
And so then you could just take a golf cart back to the entrance. So
okay.
you're not going one way and then just backtracking. So
or
that's-
doing like a circle.
Yes. So we enjoyed that, but
Yeah, I can't even
Yeah.
think about how we would have gotten back to the car.
yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I just thought of that right now when you said that. Would I have had to climb down the rock
Yeah,
face?
I
Because,
guess so.
frankly,
You would have. That would have
that
been worse. Actually,
would have been much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Well,
I didn't even think about that.
well, luckily you didn't have to.
Thank
You're-
God.
You're here.
Yeah.
You're here.
I don't have the answer to that question. I never will.
Which is
My
fine.
husband was like, oh, well, someday we'll have to go back and we'll rent the car and maybe we can do some more stuff up in the mountains. And I was like, no.
No, you maybe.
I'm not doing any
but
of that.
also, don't die, please, because
I'm trying not to.
I don't know where your body's gonna wind up. So
Yeah. So if I die here,
yeah.
what happens to me? I know I had travel insurance on this trip, so I feel like my body would make it back to the United States.
Eventually, and you'd have to find it first, though. So, or someone would have to find. Anyways, moving on. So we did that. Came home. We did some more camping. We did our normal every year Wisconsin trip with friends. Then we did our Ohio, Pennsylvania trip.
Yeah.
Which was fun. We stopped in Toledo and ate at Tony Pacco's, if anybody's a fan of MASH, which me and my husband are.
Okay.
And then we went to Cleveland and did some stuff there, and that was fun. And then we wound up in Hershey,
Right.
which was a lot of fun. We spent an entire day at the amusement park, which my kids really like amusement parks.
Yeah.
Literally all day. I mean, we were there till it closed.
Oh, wow.
So, but it was a super manageable sized amusement park for our kids.
Okay.
And there was plenty for them to do in terms of roller coasters that were big and stuff that was small. Our kids are tall, so they were tall enough to do anything they wanted to do.
Okay.
And then there's a whole water park half of it too.
Oh, wow.
So we spent half the time at the amusement park, half the time at the water park. They had water roller coasters and huge water slides and all kinds of that stuff. And
Nice.
the kids really enjoyed really both. And they had really good food at the amusement park. I know. I'm
What?
shocked, right? Yeah. So there's a couple like restaurants, and one was the Chocolatier, I think it's called.
Okay.
And the food was excellent. Everything we had, all of us had. Like, the twins are now starting to like not kid food.
Yeah.
So my youngest son had like the braised short rib macaroni and cheese, which was like cavatappi noodles with like this queso with braised short ribs, and it was fantastic.
Nice.
Then my daughter had some fettuccine alfredo type dish with something else, and my husband also had the braised short rib, which was like perfectly done. The food was really good. Like, everything was surprisingly good. Like, some of the food we had in Hershey, there was another restaurant we went to that's called Finici's, which was an Italian restaurant that's been there for like ever. I mean, it was this tiny, like, used to be a house type restaurant. And again, my kids, like my son, my youngest, had like this crab crusted tortellini something or other, and my daughter had, I don't even remember, but everything we had on that trip food wise was like really good. And I'm like,
awesome.
This is not what I would expect from like an amusement park town, because nothing else is in Hershey except for that, you know. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we thoroughly enjoyed it.
Lucky break with something that was,
because I was like, we're gonna have pizza and chicken fingers. Like, that's what we're gonna wind up having. Because it's an amusement park and it's that, and we were pleasantly surprised at our options.
That's awesome.
I was very happy. Yeah,
I worried a great deal about my kids eating on our trip. Like, even though the Italian and Greek food's pretty simple, you know, it's a lot of. It's a lot of pasta, and it's a lot of...
But there's different spices and flavors, and
they mix things together differently. And like one thing I know about Italian restaurants is, and you can do this in the U.S. I don't know, most people maybe don't know this. Even if they don't have it on the menu, you can order pasta with red sauce.
For sure. They always
pasta
have
marinara, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
If you say pasta with red sauce anywhere in Italy, they will bring you out a bowl of noodles with a red tomato sauce on it. And your child, who might not eat something else at that particular, will eat that.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was something that it took a little convincing of my younger child. Like, there was the first night we went somewhere where it wasn't on the menu, and he was really upset.
He was concerned.
And he was like, what am I going to eat here? And he was like having this emotional breakdown. And I will say also, it was probably one of the best meals I had on the entire trip was at this place. And he was having a meltdown about food.
Not being able to find something to eat.
We almost didn't get to eat there. I was like, man, if you ruin this for me,
get it together,
I don't get my cacio e pepe, we're going to have a problem. And he got red sauce a handful of times and was very happy with that, and ate it a couple of times on the trip. And I was relieved that there was like a backup plan for him always. He spread out a little bit more in Greece. He had some chicken, he had some pork, he did a little bit of that stuff, which is great. Because they're really good at all that.
Oh yeah, I love Greek food. I love lamb, so like, oh my god.
I ate a lot of pork. My oldest ate a lot of lamb chops.
I love lamb chops. They're like one of my favorites.
Also, lamb chops in Europe are like $20.
Yeah.
Here, you pay $50 for that.
No, which is why you might as well eat as much as you can while you're there.
And we never had a dinner. Oh, I'm sorry, I won't say never. We almost never had a dinner over $100.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
We
spend like $40 going to McDonald's here.
Oh, absolutely.
So to have an actual good meal is like, totally worth
it was awesome.
Yeah.
I will say, flying over there is expensive. Yeah. Some of the places we stayed, not all, some of the places we stayed were expensive. Yeah. But the food and the activities, I mean, kids are free almost everywhere. Kids are free at the Coliseum. They're free at the Vatican. They're free on the train.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. Huh. You don't pay for your kids to ride the train if they're under 18.
Wow.
It's not even like 12.
That's awesome.
Yes. Huh. So there is, I'm going to give myself a little bit more of this. There is some very appealing arguments for going to Europe, and I would make all of them. I just
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an affordable place to go once you get there.
Well, and honestly, right now, it's a fortune to fly anywhere. We were looking at flights to California for the 5 of us, and I was like, it's going to cost me $2,600. Like,
yeah.
Because I could fly to Europe practically similar to what I could fly to California right now.
I found,
which is crazy.
I don't know when your spring break is. I found spring break tickets nonstop Chicago to Rome for $600 round trip.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Per person.
Right.
That's nothing.
No, that's
$600
fantastic.
per person round trip nonstop.
Yeah. Oh,
straight to Rome.
I was thinking
God.
like
I really wanted to do it, but we were just there.
Yeah. My oldest is the one who has autism, and so we're always like, could he handle it? Could he not? But after we flew to Arizona, we were on that stupid plane for 5.5 hours, and he was fine. I was like, okay, he could probably swing like a good 7-hour flight, like, or more maybe. And he really loves planes.
Oh,
so
nice.
like he's never had any negative issues being on a plane.
Yeah. Well, I will say the great thing about when we flew to Italy is we flew through Reykjavik, Iceland, and Chicago to Reykjavik is only like a 6.5 hour flight,
which isn't bad at all.
So we stayed in Iceland for a night. So we did not get back on a plane right away.
Until the next day.
So we left the airport, rented a car, drove around, enjoyed ourselves, stayed in a hotel.
We could totally do that.
And then went back
if needed.
to the airport and flew to Rome, which was 4.5 hours or 5. It was still like
but
quite
that's a flight to Arizona. I mean, our flight to Arizona was 4.5 hours.
And because we were already in Europe, we didn't have to go through
all
customs and do all of that. It was
It's
flying in Europe was, for the most part, very simple and straightforward. Security never took a long time.
Oh, nice.
Going through the process was never bad. Our trip home was a disaster.
Yeah, I remember you talking about
that. We got stranded in Stockholm, Sweden for a night because our flight was supposed to take us from Athens to Reykjavik. Well, it was supposed to take us from Athens to Stockholm to Reykjavik to Chicago, and that was one whole day of flying, which was going to be rough.
Right.
But our flight from Athens to Stockholm was several hours late. We sat in the Athens airport for probably 6 hours.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Before flying to Stockholm, getting to Stockholm at like 6 or 7 in the evening.
Yeah.
And having to stay there for the night.
Yeah.
The airline was kind enough to find us a direct flight home the next day.
Oh, that's at least good.
It was better.
Right.
It was better. One fun fact about European flying is that there are laws in place to protect travelers.
There are. Yes, better than here.
So if your flight causes you to arrive at your final destination more than 4 hours before you were expected to, you are entitled to €600 a ticket.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I have, it takes a very long time to get the money.
I'm sure.
I have it in process, but should get €2,400.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is almost the full cost of my flights.
So, I mean, silver lining.
One day of pain.
Yeah.
And I almost get my entire flight round trip back
That's not a
for
bad
my
thing.
entire
Not
family.
Bad. Not bad at all.
But I will say, if you were one person and you missed a day of work and you missed and you paid your rent late and you
all of these
stuff, things that could come,
it would
you
be
missed a doctor's
significant amount of
appointment,
money.
You would cost yourself.
Yeah.
And so that's the argument for the law.
Which makes sense, but the European, they protect their customers far more than here.
Yeah, there's a different relationship in that sense with these like transit Department of Transportations in these different countries.
Yeah.
No way that the European Union has set things up.
Yeah. Well, luckily, again, there's a silver lining there. So
absolutely.
To wrap up, we had lots of miles, lots of states, a car accident, miscellaneous other things. We did stuff in the city. We did zoos and aquariums. We did everything Barbie related, me and my daughter, this summer because it was the summer of Barbie.
Of course.
We celebrated my parents' 50th wedding anniversary.
Nice.
And I finally got COVID.
Oh, right.
So
the reason
to
it's been
wrap up,
almost 2 months since
Yes.
I've seen you.
to wrap up all of the things, that's what we're ending with.
Fantastic. That's such a great end to the summer. We won't dwell on that part.
No. But I
will
just
say
thought
that
I'd
you weren't
share.
the only person I knew that kind of got taken down toward the end of the
There
summer.
were 4 people in my work, and I haven't been in the office in 3 months.
Yeah, I had a handful of people that I knew. Nobody that I had seen in a while, just knew of.
Yeah.
Including yourself. I hadn't seen you in a couple weeks when you told
I
me.
hadn't seen like anybody. That was the weird thing because like
Yeah, it was very strange.
I was like, I haven't left the house in like 3 days.
Yeah, that was
even
I
to go
asked
to like
you,
the
I was
grocery
like,
store.
So where did you get it? And you were like, I have no idea.
Literally no clue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so weird. You know, we had it, my family had it last summer-ish.
Yes,
almost
similar time frame.
Yeah, a little earlier in the year than you, but close. And so my youngest started to not feel well about halfway through our vacation at the time, which probably was him coming down with COVID. I mean, because the rest of us have ultimately tested positive after getting home.
Gotcha.
What kind of confuses me is that before we left on the trip, there really wasn't a time that I would have expected him to have gotten exposed.
Right.
And it was only a few days into the trip. So the timeline was sort of like, maybe he would have gotten exposed like right away on
Either
the very
right away
first
or
day,
before.
or it was before the trip, and I really do not know where he would have been, that he would have been around anybody.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have.
So it was kind of
and I didn't go anywhere. I didn't fly anywhere. It was very weird. And so I got COVID. I lost my sense of smell for 1 day. Literally,
That's so
that was
weird.
it. 1 day. And then I came back. Never lost my sense of taste. But then I felt better. And then a day and a half later, I felt worse.
Yeah,
and I wound up with strep. So COVID was gone. It was fine. And then I got this other infection. And I was like, what the heck? Like, all at once.
I remember checking up on you and you being like, well, I was feeling better.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
And now I feel terrible. And I was just like, dude, what? No.
It was no longer the vid. It was something else. Yeah.
Yeah, your body was just like catching up.
Pretty much, that's what I think happened. So now I've had it, and ironically, 2 of the people that I work with were also 2 holdouts that had never tested positive.
Wow.
Until now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're cleaning up.
So whatever
here, America.
strain's going around now is getting all of us stragglers.
Yeah,
So
we're wiping. Maybe it's only those of us who have had it, but previously
no one in
not.
my family got it when I got it. So I feel like they had some sort of immunity built up because they've all had it, and I didn't.
That's
So,
interesting. I wonder if there's anything there.
Yeah, no clue.
Something to think about next week's episode when we talk about conspiracy theories.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, we didn't say what we're drinking, but we're drinking a barrel-aged barley wine now.
We are drinking a barrel-aged barley wine. I have had a few sips of it. It is delightful. It's a classic barley wine. Tastes really good.
And we're going to enjoy that for a bit. And any parting words?
I was just going to read what it's called.
Okay.
Stone Daddy.
Oh.
A stone daddy tries to be both stonefly and crawfish, leaving the unsuspecting fish confused as to what it actually encountered. I love it. There's a lot more. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm just going to say it says it's aged in bourbon barrels and that they collaborated with Mad River Distillery in Vermont.
Oh, nice. All right, New Hampshire and Vermont. I'll add them to the list.
Yep.
Fantastic. We should make a map like we have and cross off the states that we've done breweries.
I think that's a great idea. I'll just get another one of the things that I got for my son because it's not that expensive. We'll just scratch it off.
Scratch it off. I like this plan.
I love it.
All right.
We're going to do that for sure.
Cheers, everybody.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the latest musings from Parenting by the Pint.
Be sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you find your podcasts.
Have a great week, and cheers to you all.